But first, about 9,000 inmates are in Cook County Jail on any given day. Roughly 95% do not receive bail or can't pay it and are awaiting trial. But this year, more inmates are being given an alternative to sitting in jail. What exactly is the program and who is the county letting back out? Paris Schutz reports.
These men have all been accused of a crime. They are being processed at the intake facility at Cook County Jail.
It says print, sign, print, your first and last name.
If they can post bail, they'll be out by the end of the day. If not, they could be confined to the already overcrowded jail facility. Cook County Board President Toni Preckwinkle is concerned about overcrowding and the cost of housing all these defendants. She says she'd like to reduce the daily inmate population by about 1,000.
We spend $500 million every year on the jail. You can do a lot with $500 million. And it doesn't seem to me to be the most productive use of taxed resources, keeping people in jail if you have a reasonable expectation that they will be back for trial.
Kwan, who prefers we don't use his last name, has been booked for driving on a revoked license. He was unable to post the bail set for him by a bond judge.
I need you to lower your sock right past your heel.
Kwan is being fitted for an electronic ankle monitor.
You can verify you have a job.
He'll be allowed to go to work, and instead of sitting in jail to await trial, which could take days, weeks, or even months, Kwan is going home.
He's an individual that is going to go back into the community. He's going to go back into his home life, and he's going to go provide for his family. Certainly, in my opinion, he doesn't need to be in the Department of Corrections.
Greg Shields is the director of the county's electronic monitoring program. Inmates deemed eligible for home confinement by a bond judge will get the bracelet and be watched 24/7 through a radio frequency emitted by the bracelet.
They're monitored every move that they make. And when I say monitored, it's not a GPS. They're monitored in their activities. If they have to go to church, if they have to go to school, and they need to go, they're given permission to go to a certain location. And we have individuals that go follow up on that.
Is this 100% fail-safe?
No. House arrest is no ball and chain. It doesn't hold you to that house. House arrest is an honor system.
Kwan is followed home by corrections officers. Shields says that Kwan is probably not a threat to anybody, and that a so-called nonviolent defendant like him stands to lose a lot by staying in jail.
You can stay in jail, and the family could try to figure out how they're going to get his bond. And 4 or 5 days off of work, he's fired.
Unit device, and that.
After setting up monitoring equipment, Kwan's cuffs can come off.
Did you think you would be spending time in jail? And what do you think about when you think, wow, I avoided that?
Yeah, actually I did. I was scared and didn't know what to do. I mean, I have a lot of responsibilities. I have kids and stuff like that I still, have to look out for.
There's also a financial incentive for the county to expand the program. Shields says it costs $143 a day to keep an inmate locked up, but if that inmate goes home on surveillance, the cost goes down to $65 a day. In 2009, close to 300 defendants were released home on electronic monitoring. This year so far, there have been close to 1,100, and that includes some who've been accused of violent crimes.
The judges inside each district have their own ability to place any defendant on electronic monitoring.
Illinois law says a judge cannot order electronic monitoring for certain crimes, like murder and criminal sexual assault, unless the defendant is already out on bond. But the sheriff's office confirms there are defendants charged with violent crimes, like aggravated arson and armed robbery, who are out on electronic monitoring. Victims' rights spokesperson Jennifer Bishop Jenkins says certain defendants, though innocent until proven guilty, should not be back in the community.
If it's a nonviolent offender and they are ankle bracelet as an alternative to incarceration because they couldn't afford bond, we're fine with that. But if it's a violent offender, no, absolutely not.
If they get out on bond, what's the difference between putting them on electronic monitoring? The alternative is to decide that anybody accused of a crime ought to be locked up until their trial. And in our system, where you are presumed innocent until proven guilty, that doesn't seem to be a reasonable course of action.
Preckwinkle insists the overwhelming majority of those on electronic monitoring are accused of nonviolent crimes. Shields says that only 3% have either escaped the bracelet or committed another crime while being monitored. a deviation so small that he says the financial and social benefits of the program far outweigh the risks. For Chicago Tonight, this is Paris Schutz.
Those charged with drug offenses make up the largest number of electronic monitoring participants. The County Board President's office has announced $1 million for job training and other programs for alleged offenders. And by the way, attempting to escape the electronic monitor carries a sentence of 3 to 7 years. And we want to know what you think. Should some alleged violent offenders be released on electronic monitoring? Go to WTTW.com/Chicago Tonight to voice your opinion.